What if we could speak every language instantly? Have you ever found yourself lost in a bustling foreign city, stumbling to translate a menu or struggling to talk to the locals? Imagine if, in the blink of an eye, you could understand every sign, every word, and every nuance of tone in every language on Earth. It's a scenario that could revolutionize human interaction, diplomacy, education, and even alter the trajectory of our global culture. Let's journey into this mind-blowing possibility together and explore what this world might look like. First, let's understand the science behind languages. Today, there are about 7,000 spoken languages globally. Each of these languages conveys not just words, but deep-seated reflections of cultural values and historical contexts. If we had the instant ability to understand every language fluently, would cultures blend together more harmoniously? Or would it collapse the need and value for preserving dialects and ancient languages? It's a paradox worth exploring. Now let's talk about how this groundbreaking concept could work in practice. Imagine a device, or perhaps even a neural implant, that translates spoken language in real time. Unlike the clunky translation devices we have today, this would be seamless, perhaps even integrated into our brains via advanced AI. The implant would not only translate words, but read subtle emotional cues, accents, and context, giving you a rich, holistic understanding of the speaker's tone and intention. The implications here are enormous. First up, diplomacy. Nations often clash over misunderstandings, not just of politics, but also language and meaning. Words carry emotion and power, and these can lose their essence when translated poorly. In our hypothetical scenario, diplomacy would be revolutionized. Imagine world leaders communicating with one another seamlessly, without interpreters, to misunderstand or misconstrue their dialogue. Greater accuracy could lead to faster resolutions, fewer conflicts, and a more peaceful coexistence. In theory, this sounds incredible, doesn't it? Then we have international travel. With this skill or technology, barriers would be reduced to almost nothing. Picture a backpacker wandering through Japan who effortlessly strikes up a conversation with a local craftsman who speaks only Japanese. The result? Deeper connections with people, a broader appreciation of how others live and see the world, and an exponential increase in friendships and cultural exchanges. Worldwide tourism might see an unprecedented boom, simply because we all could relate to one another better. Education would also undergo significant shifts. Today, learning a new language takes time, effort, and often years of practice. Students would instead spend their time delving into the aspects of cultures, history, and literature that language barriers often block. Maybe we could finally uncover lost knowledge from ancient texts written in dead languages, like Mayan glyphs or manuscripts predating modern writing systems. But with all technological advancements come consequences. What about the flip side? By having an implant or universal linguistic ability, would we rob individual languages of their uniqueness? Dialects and accents carry histories. If everyone spoke every language, there might be a gradual erosion of the cultural quirks embedded within them. There's this intrinsic beauty in struggling to communicate and learn a new language. It's like cracking open a treasure chest, revealing nuggets of insight into a new people and their way of life. Would this innate curiosity for discovering how others communicate dissipate if everything became instantaneous? Furthermore, language professions such as translators, interpreters, and even language educators would find their very livelihood under threat in such a world. While we'd gain something extraordinary, we'd also likely lose cherished aspects of our intellectual and professional world. Just think about it. A translator who spends years perfecting the subtleties of language, only to have their nuanced work overtaken by flawless technology. Would we be gaining efficiency at the cost of human expression? And then, let's consider technology and privacy. If AI is powerful enough to pick up on every tone, slang, and inflection, How much personal data, our voice print, patterns of speech, preferences, and conversations, would a tech company gather from us? In a world driven by data, this could impact privacy in unprecedented ways. What would governments and corporations do to control or capitalize on this universal communication device? Could it potentially be weaponized? If conversations are monitored or influenced real time, are freedom of speech and authenticity under threat? But let's dream a little more optimistically. Looking deeper into the environmental and ecological impacts of such a shift, we find some incredible ideas. Conservationists who dedicate their lives to protecting indigenous communities or endangered species could work without barriers. Miscommunications between native speakers and scientists often limit conservation efforts. If we could instantly speak the local languages of remote tribes, aid would arrive faster, policies would be implemented with precision, and perhaps cultures on the brink of extinction could be saved. Let's also reflect on creativity. Imagine artists and authors collaborating on grand projects without a single language hiccup. What happens when a Russian poet brilliantly combines words with French imagery? What if a scientist in India seamlessly collaborates with an astrophysicist 7,000 miles away without navigational linguistic barriers? It could lead to an age of hyper-collaboration where ideas leapfrog boundaries far more quickly than today. And finally, on societal impacts. Imagine dismantling prejudice based solely on race or language. Speech accents and phrases are often leveraged to create stereotypes. If every human being could deconstruct these communication barriers, we might erase pockets of bias, leading to a more empathetic society, unifying people on shared narratives instead of language-defined divisions. But before you think we're confined to purely speakable languages, consider this discovery applied to animal communication. Yes, deciphering the language of dolphins, bird songs, or even the faint whispers of trees vibrating at certain frequencies. Think of what we as humans could contribute towards our understanding not only of our world, but of life itself on Earth. So let's circle back. What if we could speak every language fluently in an instant? Would it make us closer to a global utopia, or expose darker divides in how humans use language to define their identity? Would we resolve cultural conflicts for good, or homogenize the rich diversity that makes this world feel magical? This tantalizing possibility stirs deep questions about progress, culture, and the responsibilities technology brings. What do you think? Would you embrace this powerful ability, or proceed with caution? Let's continue exploring the limitless marvels of what-if facts. Until next time, stay curious and keep imagining the impossible.